This conference will now be recorded.
Perfect. Welcome. So it's wonderful to see everybody. Um, I apologize I wasn't at the last meeting, but I was on vacation in New Zealand enjoying the beautiful weather. And
Wow.
yes, it was lovely. It was a nice time to get away, that's for sure. Now they're basically flooding to death. So I think we got out just in time because it's not doing very well there in Auckland, especially right now. But um, and I understand the last meeting we didn't run because we didn't have quorum.
Correct.
Okay. Uh, So we'll call the meeting to order. Just wanted to ensure we don't have a disclosure of any pecuniary interest, any conflict that everyone would like to disclose. I don't see any hands. I don't see anybody speaking. Okay. Can we have an approval of the agenda? Someone like to, Ralph?
I've got a couple of additions to the agenda, Christine.
Perfect. Okay.
I think council's looking for some suggestions about how to appropriately celebrate Black History Month. And that's one item. And the second item is just a discussion. I'm not necessarily advocating for it, but a discussion of whether we'd like to start in-person meetings rather than virtual ones.
Perfect. Great items, both of them. Okay, we'll add that. And I guess we'll add them both under new business.
Right. I think so.
And I had left the unfinished business blank just because I wasn't at the last meeting, so I didn't know if there was anything discussed or so there's anything else to be added to that.
We actually aborted the meeting because there wasn't
So we didn't have a meeting at all. Okay. Okay, perfect. So let's start. And sorry, do I have approval of previous minutes? Ralph and Amina? Great, thank you. So let's just review the unfinished business. Ralph, we had allocated some people to give you some information so that you'd be able to start working on updating the website, the DEI portion of the website. Did you receive everything that you needed to?
So I can give you an update on that. Yes, some, but not everything. John Ito gave me a document for his part, and it was really to answer the question of how or what can we do to overcome our biases. And Christine, I got a note from you about why we need a DEI program, and is Mona really a diverse community? And I have been working on the definitions in terms of definitions. The terms of reference are done, and I also had made a commitment to do what is known and being done by other municipalities. I've done some research on that, but I haven't put anything together. So I think the present state is that it's in progress. Um, Omnia, were you going to do something on what is Mona going to do to address discrimination? I had your name down there.
Yes,
Sure.
yes, I'm gonna do this, but before you mentioned that it's gonna be done by February 8th, so I was
Yeah.
just busy
Yeah.
with my exams. Sorry
Right.
about that. So yeah,
No, no.
yeah, I will
Yeah.
done that over the weekend because today was kind of my last exam for this session.
Yeah, I had February 8th written down as well, Amina, and then I realized the meeting got moved up a week, so I thought, oh, I guess I should have it done by today. So I was doing
Okay.
it in between all my meetings this morning at work. So it may not be as complete as you would like, Ralph, and I'm happy to expand further. I'm wondering if you should send out what's been done by everybody so everybody else can review it. I mean, so Andrew and Mina, everybody, and Elaine can have a look at what's been written and provide feedback, and so we can, we're all have an opportunity to provide input on what we're writing.
I think that's a good idea. My suggestion is that I might do an edit and then send it out rather than getting 7 different edits and trying to put them together. And
Okay.
so I can do that with what we have, and we'll get that out before the next meeting. Also, we're missing. Heo was going to do something, and she was going to do number 8, which was how do I know if I have any racial and gender-based biases? Because a lot of people say, I don't have any biases, and then they go ahead and do something. Sort of, so that Heo is not going to has not followed up on anything about that. So I'm presuming that she's not going to do it. So if anybody would like to take that one on, that would be
Well,
fine.
I can find some links for you, Ralph, because I think there is already a lot of, there's self-tests you can do. There's lots of research already out there. So for that question, we might be better just providing links on how do you know if you have a bias. Click here so you can do your own little, let me see what I can find for you. And if anybody else wants to do a bit of research to see, but I know I've seen, because I've filled some of those surveys out as part of my own role where I am now. So I know there's lots of information already out there on that.
Sounds good. And any of the other questions can be answered by partially or all entirely by links as well.
Right. Okay, I'll try and get that out to you this week.
Sounds good. Thank you.
So do you have a timeline, Ralph, on when you think we'll start to work on that website?
Well, I'd like to have feedback from. I'd like to have. We can put out if we can put it out with 1 or 2 items. We don't need to have all of there are 13 here that I listed there just for suggestions. But we can put out whatever we have and add to it and build it as time goes by. So I would think that after the next meeting, we might be in a position to pass this on to Andrew, who is our website guy, and he can get started on it.
Okay, perfect.
Andrew, not you, Andrew. Andrew Dahmer.
Andrew, do you hold your camera up the whole time during these meetings?
Yeah, it's my phone.
So
But
if we have an in-person meeting, I have a couple of tripods. I'm happy to give you one if you like. It's just
okay. I'm hands
save.
free now. I put it on a music stand. I have a music stand I can put it on. So I'm hands free now.
I was just thinking about you and how exhausting that must be to hold that up for a whole meeting. So I have extra tripods. If you want one for your phone, happy to give you one. I have them from my past role.
Wonderful.
So, yeah, I'm happy. No problem. Sorry, I wasn't saying you can do whatever you want. I just thought, my gosh, my arm.
Well, I use my reading glasses, so it's easier to hold it up and look at it. But now I got to stand up. You got to lean forward. So nothing's
feel free
easy.
to hold it. Feel free.
Nothing's easy. But thank you.
Okay. Okay, so that's all I had under unfinished business. Was there something else on there that I can't remember that we should be discussing, Elaine?
I'm just wondering if we have any survey results back. I know we extended the date, but have we looked at anything that's come in?
I don't think so, Elaine. I think
Ralph, yeah, I don't have access to it. So.
I think we just extended the date, and it's been until we stop receiving surveys. I don't think there'll be any analysis will be done.
Well, and the last time we saw the numbers, Elaine, there wasn't enough to be a relevant analysis anyway. It's nothing we could ever use with that small number of people that have done the survey.
Sure. And did we give a new date, and did we put it back out there for people to refresh them about it, or I don't know what we did. Sorry.
Yes, we did. It was in the last newsletter, and it's also updated on the website.
Yeah.
But there's no. Is there a due date for?
We hadn't closed it, I think, at this point. Yeah.
Open.
Sorry, there were 2 people talking. I couldn't get that.
It's open. It's open.
But we should close it at some point. Do we have a closing date? Or does it not matter?
Well, I'm not sure whether we're getting in any more, but it's likely. I suspect that it's probably run its course now.
Should we ask?
Yeah, I agree with Ralph. I think it's run its course.
I'll speak to Andrew if you'd like, and see where we're at with that, and then send a suggestion out to you. If he says we're still getting in surveys, then we probably should stay with it. But my guess is that we're not, and if so, we should close it off and do whatever analysis is appropriate.
Sure. Take what we have. Okay, thank you.
We also have Winterfest down there under unfinished business. Christine, I'm not quite sure what's
Oh, yeah, I
the,
had moved it to new business. Sorry, for Winterfest, I think we had a table assigned for this weekend on Sunday, and we had agreed we were going to man it, but I'm just wondering if we have any idea how we're going to man it, who's going to man it, how long we're manning it for, and what's on it on the table. Um, or are we just leaving some pamphlets there for people to pick up?
I volunteered to man it. So
Yeah, as did I. So, what are the
Yeah, me
hours that
too.
it runs? And you did too as well. I mean, right now.
I
So,
think
what are
that
the hours at Winterfest?
it's 12 noon to 4 p.m. and there'll be a table there. And I believe there's going to be some poster type material to draw attention to people. I should check with that. I think to my surprise that had already been planned by Fred Simpson. So I'll follow up on that. So there's yourself, Christine, and Andrew. Is that right?
And I mean, I had, I think, offered to man the
Yes,
table.
me too.
Wonderful.
what time should we be there on Sunday?
Do you have a
Probably
preference what time you'd like? I guess, at least between 12 and 3, somebody should be there. Between 3 and 4, it's probably starting to wind down, probably not as busy, but maybe between 12 and 3. Do you guys want to each split up an hour? One does 12 to 1, 1 to 2, and then 2 to 3?
Well, I'll show up at 12 o'clock and stay as long as I can.
Okay.
Yeah, me too. I think it's Sunday, so my husband's gonna be home, so it's kind of flexible time for me as well. Mhm.
Okay. So why don't we just all three of us show up at the table at 12 o'clock? And then we can take turns enjoying the Winterfest and representing Mono at the same time.
Okay.
Perfect. Sounds great. And so can I just clarify, what's our message at this table? Are we just highlighting that we have a committee and we encourage your contribution or feedback, or are we going to try and like snap up committee members as they walk by to see if there's any interest in people joining the committee? What kind of message do the counselors want us to be portraying or giving at that
Well,
table?
somebody printed up some nice posters, and I think we have to decide on which poster would be the best poster. Was it you, Ralph, or somebody printed up 3 posters?
Just
I
Fred,
don't
I think.
recall. I don't
Fred.
recall. I don't recall the specifics, but I think that Fred Simpson has arranged for some posters to be made. So
Yeah.
yeah, Mike is nodding his head.
Yeah, they were
So who
sent out
should,
to review. They're lovely. So yeah, okay. So they'll be out there.
and should we put our survey out too that we've already done?
Well, I think we should encourage people to do it. I mean, for me, it's a real concern that we've had, 10 times more people do the fireworks survey than they did the diversity survey. So it would be great if we could encourage more people to do that. Would be great. Elaine?
Just wondering if anybody could have a laptop there for people to do that survey right online as they're there so they don't run away and say, yeah, I'll do it later, or take the paper and run. Sometimes people like to do that, give them the option of taking the paper or filling it out online. Just an idea.
That's a
Um,
great idea. And also you're suggesting that we have a paper copies of the survey there that they can grab and then fill out and send in.
Sure, and perhaps a copy of the terms of reference. I don't know if Fred Simpson already took care of that, but then that way when you have that piece of paper about the terms of reference, people can see it and say, oh yeah, I think I can do that.
So I think that's a great idea. And yeah, that's enough information for people, I think. My sense is the reason why we're there is to answer questions that people might have about the committee. And given we're pretty green and new, we may not have a lot of depth, but the other possible value of it is that you might find somebody who's interested in being on the committee because that's an issue that we're going to discuss. So it may be a good chance to get another other committee members.
We'll try, right? We'll see if we can gather up some more interest for sure.
Just a point of technology here. I just sent a report on audio issues to the go-to people because everybody's voice is echoing. So I sent them a report. I don't know if they'll fix it.
Yeah, I agree. It seems to everybody that's making that noise. It's not just one person.
Well, I haven't heard one echo yet, so I don't know.
Interesting. I
Yeah.
definitely heard from Ralph for sure. Ralph's is really bad, as is Mike's. It's that was really bad as well. Maybe
Everybody's coming in loud and clear.
all right then. Did everyone saw the email about the dates for the new year? I thought it might be helpful if we actually wrote the dates down for the whole year so we could get them in our calendars. I did put them at the end of the agenda as well. I made the assumption we aren't having meetings in July and August, but happy to revisit that just because there was a conversation last year that you don't normally meet the committees in the summer, but we did last year because it was new. But I just, especially hearing that we didn't have quorum at the last meeting, I wanted to make sure that everyone gets these in their calendars and commits to them for the full year in advance. So I know that John had said he couldn't make one, but I hadn't heard from anybody else not available for any of those dates. So is everybody else okay with what I sent out?
Yes, I think I'm fine with whatever you said.
Okay. Andrew, you're good with those dates as well?
Me? Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Ralph added about the question about in person. What does everybody feel about in person?
Yeah, I'm good with that. No more echoing.
Yeah, even if we did every second one in person would be great.
Oh, yeah, that would be good.
Okay,
I only have
so
one problem. Sorry.
what's
I
that?
just have one problem because sometimes my husband's not gonna be home, so I have to find somebody to take care after my kids. So I cannot verify for sure if I would love to for sure, but I can tell you in advance.
How old is your child?
Well, I have four.
Oh, wow.
I have the oldest are twins. They're 12. They're fine to stay by themselves, but I have the little one is 4.5, and I have a 9-year-old. So the only one is the little one.
I was just
Um,
gonna say, unless Mono has a policy, why couldn't Amina bring her 4.5-year-old to the meetings? But I would have no issue with your child coming to the meetings.
I think I should be fine. I'm not gonna struggle, but this is just just to clarify, this is one of the things
Yeah,
that maybe prevent me.
no problem. I just think from a DEI perspective, inclusion is part of it, right? So being able to accommodate people and their needs is important, especially in a committee like this. So just want to let you know, if you want to bring all 4 kids, bring all 4 kids.
Okay,
I'd love to meet your kids.
thank you.
Amnia, I have 21-year-old twins.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, times fly very fast.
Yeah.
I remember when I came here, they were 5 months old. Now they're 12.
Yeah, time does go very, very fast. That's for
Yeah.
sure. Sorry, I just need to text my son to let the chickens and turkeys in. I forgot to ask. There we go.
So Christine, before you start rolling again, and on your agenda, there's unfinished business, and number 3 was upcoming events. Was that something that you had to speak to?
Oh, I must not have the most up-to-date one. I think I only have the one I said Fred open. Sorry. Upcoming events.
It was before Winterfest.
Sorry, say that again.
It was before Winterfest.
Okay. Yeah, I think I definitely don't have a new one opened. I'm not aware of any upcoming events. Do we know why that's in the unfinished business? Anybody?
Hi, sorry, I think this was included so that you guys could just bring up if you had any events that you were aware of, so that you could just leave it on the agenda and talk about it each meeting if you guys were aware of anything coming up.
Okay, so just general events that are happening perhaps in Dufferin County or the region or that pertain to DEI, right?
Yeah, I think that was the intention.
Okay, well, that's good to know. So what we should probably, something we could look at in advance of these meetings is to be able to talk about what do we know that's happening from a DEI perspective in the region around us. But that would bring us to Black History Month, really, about what we think we want to do to represent Black History Month. Elaine?
So I can give you an update a little bit. There is a proclamation that will be made at our next council meeting on February 14th. We will do a flag raising, but I don't know the date for that. And there was a possibility for a delegation from the Dufferin County Canadian Black Association, but I don't know the final outcome of that either. Fred Simpson has that in hand, but we can notify the committee when we know. And I didn't know if we could do a little bit of a quick research about the history of Black community members and put that on our website. But it's an idea.
We had talked about that at a previous meeting. I don't know who was it. Someone brought it up, about being able to celebrate the diversity of businesses owned within the town of Mono, but it appears Mono doesn't seem to have any of that kind of data that would help us to understand the ownership of businesses within the town and how they're represented. I mean, I would think that we should have. I don't know where you would get that from.
Well, the Dufferin Board of Trade might be able to help us on that. I'd be happy to go find out.
Yeah, I mean, I think we have to be a little bit careful because I know that even at George Brown College, there are lots of people who feel at this point it's almost tokenism by us reaching out to, Black people only in the month of February when that's something that should be highlighted and represented all year round. So we just have to be careful that we don't, if we're going to celebrate them in February, we should also celebrate them in July and then maybe again in September. To promote diversity instead of just in specific periods. I just have, yeah, go ahead, Elaine.
I'd be happy to invite, I have a number of connections around the community. I'd be happy to invite Alethea O'Hara Stevenson to one of our meetings. I also have a connection to Polycultural Immigrant Services. So if we wanted to have people come and chat with us, I know you had a delegation booked for the last meeting, but I don't know what that was for. And obviously it didn't happen, but I'm happy to invite those folks to meet with us if that's an interest.
Yeah, personally, I think we should try and bring more diverse representation to these meetings, even if it's from a learning perspective, so we can, meet people and learn about what's happening. And I even think, there are some very active members on the Shelburne DEI committee that would probably be happy to come and have a conversation with us to talk to us about what they're doing. Because I do think some of these committees are a lot more active than we are currently because they've been around quite a bit longer and will figure things out a little bit. So it would be good.
Maybe we want to invent our own sort of event around bringing all these tables together and just having an open conversation or a focused conversation on specific things,
What's everybody else think?
We could have a meal, a conversation, and just talk about what are they doing, what can we learn from them, and have everybody together. It's be a kind of a special meeting, but that's an idea. I throw it out there.
I think it's a great idea. When I represented Mono on that, as all the chairs for was all the DEI committees in Dufferin County, I thought it was incredible because just I didn't know some of the challenges they were going through and some of the great work that they had done, and and from that I learned about the walk that they did on Indigenous Peoples Day and went and participated in that, and so I think being able to learn from people around us would be very helpful for sure.
Yeah, I think this is there's a lot to be learned here. Um, I'm going to make a suggestion, Elaine, that maybe you flesh out a little bit more specific of a plan and present it to us at the next meeting. Because I hear a number of possibilities here, but I'd like to have some idea what kind of structure this getting together would have.
Well, maybe I'll meet with a couple of members and we can talk about it. I don't want to just make it all up for you.
Right.
I think
I
we
can,
should work on it together, but
Yeah, maybe get a game plan here because there's a lot of information and it's kind of precarious to be to work in a field like this because, like as you said, tokenism and so I think we should get a good solid game plan together. Growing up in Orangeville, we were one of the first colored family in Orangeville. We were a mixed race family, and there was a lot of things that I could talk about. So I knew all the different people as they came into Orangeville, like Mike Flecker and Gary White and Pete Rose. They were all colored families, and Wendy Henderson, and so we all hung around together. And my father was very dark, and he was one of the first people in Orangeville that was a colored person, and so he scared some people. Like they'd never seen anybody like it before. And on Sundays, they would drive down the road in front of our house and just look at us. And some people would yell out names, and it was quite strange. But yeah, so there's a lot that I grew up with that, and my dad had a company that he worked with in Orangeville here. So being a very dark colored Arab, um, we had a lot of challenges and things growing up in Orangeville, although it's not mono. But there's some things that I could bring to the table, I'm sure.
Yeah, that would
Oh,
be great. I mean, if we could have a more more people at the table to have a bigger conversation would be, I think, really beneficial.
okay. So if we don't want to have a planning session, all of us together, do we want to have just a couple of people make a straw agenda for it or a straw invitation for it and then bring it back to the group?
an ad hoc committee?
Yeah, I read in our terms of reference, we're allowed to do that. So that's good.
Okay.
A little subcommittee. We can make a, you know,
Yeah,
hosting event subcommittee.
I think it would be great to have a subcommittee because, I added areas we want to focus on for 2023 on the agenda because I'm actually not clear on the direction of this committee and what we want to do going forward. I think the beginning was clear, but I think we need to get a little more clear on why we have this committee. And I think me actually writing why do we need DEI for mono, those areas for you, Ralph, started to make me think, well, why do we need one? And do we need one? And if we're going to have one, what's the benefit of it, and how is it going to benefit the community in mono? Because to be frank, to have two people resign from the committee, for me, just demonstrates they didn't see value in their being here. And I want people to show up to this committee excited to be here, feeling like they're here for a benefit to the community. So I want to be really clear what we're going to do in 2023.
Mm-hmm. Well, there's been a lot of work done by other committees, as somebody said earlier. I was talking to Lisa Post, the new mayor of Orangeville, and she was down at a real professional type of diversity, equity, and inclusion committee in Vaughan, taking classes down there. So I'll reach out to her and see if she's got any structural information on what's going on. I think we might reach out to some other committees and find out what their structure is and how to go about creating our own structure. So I'll reach out to Lisa Post, and maybe somebody could reach out to the Shelburne committee. How's that sound?
It sounds to me like we're kind of going over the same idea again, which Elaine had presented, and getting people from the different committees to meet with us.
Right.
And
I think Ralph, I kind of see that. Oh, sorry.
Can I finish, please?
Go ahead. Yeah, no, go ahead.
And what I'm hearing is a number of different ideas, and I think this subcommittee, which maybe should be Andrew and Elaine, if I could suggest, could come up with a suggestion of how we make use of the knowledge and experience that the Dufferin County, Shelburne, and Orangeville, their DEI committees have been around for a year or a year and a half longer than ours, and how best to learn from them. Maybe that we have each one come every meeting and present what they're doing and what their issues and challenges are, or maybe we get them all around the table. I'm not sure what the best way is, but I think that that's the idea is that Elaine was introducing, and I think we should pursue that.
Yeah, I kind of connected this, Christine, going back to what you're saying. I went back to the terms of reference, and number 3 says to liaise with other organizations and stakeholders. So to me, it was kind of, okay, where can we reach out in the community? And there are a number of organizations, and I'd be happy to, work on this with Andrew, and then we can bring back something to the group, and if that's what we want to do.
Yeah, and
great.
Elaine, sorry, Andrew, I'll forward you the email, Elaine. I did try and get, when I was on that committee with all the chairs in Dufferin County, I did try and get something going, but there was no response from anybody. So it might be better coming from someone in council, a counselor or something, than it would from me to try and get a bit more participation. So I'll forward you all those names so that you have a list of all the people that are on the committees in those regions.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Sorry, Andrew, I didn't mean to cut you off there.
Oh, it was just a one-word response. Great.
So we said we were open to having an in-person meeting. Where would we have those in-person meetings? Is there a space somewhere? And
There's a meeting hall that's a meeting room in the downstairs of the town hall, which is adjacent to the council chambers, and that's probably the best place for us. There's a smaller one, 2 smaller ones upstairs on the side of the stairway. I guess 1 smaller one, and that one would handle us people fairly well. The larger one will handle twice that many or more.
so did we want to commit to March 8th being in person? If everyone's available to do one in person, and then I could ask Ralph if one of you can book that space for us?
Sure.
I would love to meet you all.
Everybody okay with March 8th, pending?
Sorry, for March 8th?
I got it down.
Okay. And if there's a big snowstorm, we'll rebook because I don't like driving in snowstorms. Okay, that's great. And I'm happy to bring snacks for us. Ralph?
One of the things that we're doing at the Wellington Board of Health is we're having our winter meetings, because people have to travel this winter and in the snow, and that is have them virtual and having the meeting starting in the spring in person. I think that we recognize that there's greater value of having an in-person meeting, and that sort of fits with winter and summer weather too.
So Ralph, are you saying want to maybe not do in person until maybe the May meeting?
Well, I was thinking maybe March is not that good. Maybe we should start it and then do it April and May and June, see how it goes.
Okay, so we'll aim for in person on the April 12th meeting then.
All right, sounds good. I just found your email. I'm okay with all the dates, Christine.
Okay. Okay, so everyone make a note. We'll aim for in person for April 12th. Looking very forward to meeting some of you in person. Finally.
I think it's going to be best in the larger meeting downstairs, in larger meeting room, I should say.
Mm, mm. I mean, eventually I'd like to have one of these meetings at a different type of, a different ethnic cuisine restaurant. Every meeting would be great if we were able to experience the diverse cultures of cuisines we have within the town of Mono. That would be amazing.
Now
Of
you're
course.
talking.
So do we want to talk any further about additions to DEI committee members, or are we going to start with see who we can drum up at the event on Sunday, and then go from there? I think that we need at least 2 more, I believe. And we're looking for, I think, diverse backgrounds as well. I don't know how we get there, but maybe we see if we can meet any people on Sunday, and then can the council put out a call for nominations? Isn't that happening now for all committees anyway? Mike?
Christine, so council has received, or sorry, the clerk's department has received 7 names now. That will be submitted to council at the upcoming meeting. The deadline was January 30th for committee people to come in. However, should there be a new member that you want to add, then they should, by all means, fill out the form or contact the clerk's department.
Okay.
Question, Mike, is that 7 names for the DEI committee?
Correct.
Oh, that's nice to hear, because we're down to 5 now, although I'm not sure about Jasmir Cooner. He was on the committee. He said he was unable to meet for a while because he was involved with the Ukraine mess. Christine or anybody else, have you heard from Jasmir?
Jasmir? I don't even know that name.
Cooner,
Oh, Nasir.
K-O-N-E-R.
No, I remember there was the person you just said, Amina. Who was that? Nishan?
Nishan. I think it was Nishan. We met him only at the first meeting.
He resigned. He resigned after the second meeting. He sent an email resigning. So he's done.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I find it very encouraging that there are 7 names already. So let's see if we can get somebody else through this Winterfest. That would be very nice. And
Well,
the other,
that's
the other,
7. So,
Okay.
sorry,
pardon?
Rob, that 7 does not include Councillor Cates and Councillor and yourself. It's 7 members, but it may include those returning members.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Good.
But that still would give us an extra 3.
That's right.
So that's great. 4, an extra 4 actually. There's just the 3 of us now, and if there's 4 new numbers, so how does that work then? They put their name forward. Does someone contact them and invite them to the next meeting?
So council will go in camera at their next session and will review all committees based on the applications received, and will appoint depending on the results of that in-camera meeting.
Okay. So it's not automatic when they put an application in. They first have to be nominated, and then it's an interview process?
The application form is reviewed by council.
Okay.
And this committee can have up to 8 members.
Perfect. Okay. Thank you for that. Appreciate it. Did we finish what we want to do with Black History Month? I mean, we should, I don't know. I'll be quite transparent that I think in order to really have a meaningful conversation about what we should be doing for Black History Month, we should have Black representation on this committee, which we don't currently. Am I the only one that feels that way? It's hard for me to bring up ideas of what we should be doing representing Black History Month. Elaine?
Yeah,
Well,
I think
I think given
Yep.
that we do have a proclamation and we will have a flag raising, and I was speaking directly with Alethea O'Hara Stevenson from the Dufferin County Black Association. So if she's available for a delegation, she would come on the 14th. Or
Okay, so
there were two dates she could come for a flag raising, but she couldn't go today because she was all over the rest of the county. So again, I don't know, but if we get a decision from council about what's going to happen, we can let the committee know, right?
Okay. And if we could also know when the flag raising is, because if I'm available, I'd like to be at that flag raising.
Well, Mike, do you know?
So I'm sure that the lady that instrumented the flag raising last year was from Shelburne. I've lost the name. But the council's flag raising policy is that individuals shall contact the town of Mono. However, Fred Simpson did reach out and has not heard back from the same person that did it last year. So we're still awaiting a response.
Okay. Okay. Well, was there anything on the agenda or any new agenda items people want to discuss today?
so.
Andrew, Amina, you're good? Yeah. Okay.
So the agenda that I have has 2023 priorities.
Right, we touched on that for 1 minute and then we didn't go any further on 2023 priorities. So what do we want to accomplish this next year? Besides get more members.
I think there are two areas that I'd like to suggest. One is that we continue to review the activities of the town, the official activities of the town, various services. We did hear from Kim Heaton. I'd like to continue that and hear from Public Works, Finance. I'm not sure whether Dave Trotman would have anything in planning, but possibly that. And then I think one of the functions of this committee is education, and we need to discuss how we're going to do that.
You know, the one thing about Kim's presentation, which was great, and pickleball was full immediately. I just want you to know that because I tried to get on it. She didn't really answer our question around how decisions are made from a DEI lens, though, when we're choosing sports or we're choosing activities, how we're looking at it to ensure that we are representing, you know, as much diversity and inclusion and cultures and sexual orientation and everything when we're making decisions in Mono. So I don't know if that's actually done with the town of Mono. If you have something that people refer to when they're making decisions, are there, you know, a term of reference, for example, or something that you're referring to when decisions are made around new activities that are happening? Yeah, Ralph?
I think you've come on to something that's quite important, actually. It's not something that is going to be, I don't think there's anything presently that anybody in the town could pull out and say, ask these questions, and it would be looking at through the DEI lens. And that might be, I may be mistaken, and maybe Mike can straighten me out on it. But if we don't have that, that's a good thing that would be available to um, any of the leads in the town to look at with respect to anything that they were doing. Mike, do you know if there's anything like that available?
So currently, right now, there is not a Town of Mono DEI lens. I thought you were going to get there the last meeting I attended. I thought you were almost going to get there. So I think it would be nice if the committee entertained the idea of creating a mono DAI lens.
That's a great 2023 outcome.
The other thought I had, which is going back to Kim's presentation, is that um, we all sat there and listened to her. We asked some questions, um, and we didn't make any positive use of the presentation or come up with some suggestions. Um, and I think in order to make good use of a presentation and to be helpful to the town, if you'd like, we should do something you might call it an assessment of the presentation and recommendations.
I think it's a great idea, Ralph, because I can tell you why I didn't ask any questions, and I felt like she didn't actually understand why we were asking her to come to the meeting in the first place. She just gave a presentation of what they currently do, which is great because lots of things I didn't know about. I tried to sign up for the wreath thing as well, and that was full too. So that was nice to know what we do, but her presentation didn't at all reflect diversity, equity, and inclusion. And I think that maybe we didn't give her enough information in advance to help her understand what we were actually what we were looking for. Because I really felt she thought she was just coming to do a presentation of what we offer in the town of Mono. And that's not what, I don't think that's what we were looking for. We wanted to know when she decides to try and get funding to make pickle, that pickle game, funding to get the well, the language is gone now, or when she's adding new activities, how is she making sure that diversity is represented? Is there data, for the wreath making? What people showed up for that? Is it all, 60, 65-year-old white women? And if it is, what are we doing to ensure that the next event that we offer might be more attractive to different diversity? And that could be our fault. It could be that we didn't actually express that clearly to her. But that's why I didn't ask any questions, because I felt if I had started asking questions from a DEI lens, it would have looked like I was attacking her at that point. That's not at all what I wanted to do. I just felt that maybe we didn't give her enough pre-information before she did her presentation. Elaine? Yep, sorry.
We just received and reviewed a report that was done on recreational needs for the town. And maybe this committee could actually look at that and ask the questions that you're asking about, was the survey language written in a way that would, be receptive by people so that they would feel included? What was the kind of information in the survey? How did we look at that information? It might be good to start there and say, okay, how did this reflect a DEI lens? Just an idea.
Yeah, that's great. That'd be great. Something we could do.
I guess the other thing that it's been talked about is that this committee would review the new citizen welcome package.
Right.
So it's on the website. So that's another thing that we could look at in terms of reviewing that to see if it has appropriate language, to see if it's welcoming, to see if it's accessible. You know, number one on our mandate was to look at what are the systemic barriers that people face, and looking at that document might help us and might lead us to something. Looking at the rec survey might help us and lead us to, you know, defining, as Mike is saying, what should the lens look like? What are some of the questions we should be asking ourselves? What are some of the actions we should be taking when we're doing anything to make sure we're inclusive? So that's just ideas.
Okay, so, yep, Ralph, sorry.
Well, I'd like to follow up on what you were saying, Christine. I think we're just learning this process here, and basically we asked you to describe our program. She did, um, and and we didn't ask her to describe the program from a DEI lens, and that's probably the direction that we should be going with future interviews. Uh, and yeah, we're learning. Um, and we need to give some direction to whoever is coming from the town about what we're looking for. I think we're just actually we're all learning what we're looking
Yeah, I mean, we all have to learn for sure. I mean, I even thought to meet with her in advance to have that conversation. So that was a good learning experience for me, that probably maybe I or someone else should meet with the presenter before to give a bit of background as to the expectations, why we've asked them to present, so that it's clear what we're looking for.
for. That would help a lot.
Yeah, for sure. Any other ideas of things we can work on for 2023? If you're okay with it, once we've written all these down, I'll write them all up and maybe even try and draft a schedule of how we can, start attacking each of these things to help keep us on track.
Well, I've I've got an idea that I've had from day one, and that's billboards. Billboards. A few years ago, they really blanketed Orangeville and our area with those little signs all over the place. Hate has no place here. Does everybody know those signs? Hate has no place here. A very colorful little the size of a little real estate sign. Do you know those signs? Does anybody remember those?
Yeah, they were a real estate agent, weren't they? I think that was you
Pardon,
putting them.
pardon me?
Wasn't that done by a real estate agent?
I'm not sure, but it's the same type of a sign. It had a rainbow on it. It was, very LGBTQ friendly, but it was it was a great slogan. Hate has no place here. And this is what I've had from day one. I didn't really want to mention it because, there's probably money involved. But if we could put billboards up, hate has no place here. Maybe we could even borrow. Maybe they would give it to us as like a public domain property or something, and we could make a bigger billboard at some of the entrances into our municipality, and that would really leave a mark, our legacy of our committee. So I don't know about billboards. It might cost money and stuff like that. So, but then people traveling through would know, oh, this is a neat community. It's just an idea that you might think about. I think everybody just froze. Everybody frozen?
No,
No,
I'm here.
it's making me think, Andrew, about, if we aspire to be a community that, is looked at as one of those very accepting communities, maybe our website, like in the town logo, has something. Maybe all our printed material has something. I'm not a fan of billboards and I'm not a fan of signs, but I could be open-minded. I was at the Rural Ontario Municipal Association's conference, and I have some notes because I went to a session specifically on welcoming newcomers. And I have some good information, and some of the communities that spoke talked about the initiatives that they have undertaken in their own communities. And one of the people I chatted with, she's from an agency, Immigration Partnerships Canada, and they have 89 sort of members. And I wanted to talk to her a little bit more about what they do, but there were examples of communities where they have taken on campaigns and they've deliberately put messages out, about smiling at people, like being welcoming to everybody. And it was pretty interesting. So I'll put that together so that I can present it to you. And yeah, this agency, that's the Immigration Partnerships Canada, they have uh, an organization called LIPS, LIPS, and it's not lip service. That's their tagline. It's LIPS. It's Local Immigration Partnerships, not lip service. And I thought that was pretty cool. So I like your idea, but signs, I'm not, have to figure that one out. Just my thoughts.
Okay, how about t-shirts?
I guess I was silent, Andrew, when you suggested this because I'm trying to figure out how this would fit in with the town's uh, policies on billboards and signage, which is pretty negative. And that there seems to be not a natural phenomenon to fit in with our environment. So
Right.
might have to go with something else.
That is true.
I'd like to volunteer to make a stab at creating a DEI lens. So it involved me doing some research and seeing what I can come up with. So I'd be prepared to do that, Mrs. Chairwoman.
How about I create like a sort of a very simple spreadsheet that identifies the type of work that we need to do, and then after that, we can start to assign small tasks to people. And of which, Ralph, I shall put your name on DEI lens to be started. Is that all right?
Sounds good.
Okay. Okay. Anything else anybody would like to add? Thank you, Mike, for for being here today. Appreciate it. And Michelle, always the silent one. We appreciate everything you do as well.
It's no problem.
Okay, so do I have anyone motion to adjourn this meeting? Ralph and Andrew second. Andrew second is okay? Perfect. All right, meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everybody. Short and sweet. So I'll send some stuff out in the next couple of days.
Thank you. Well done.
Could somebody said about the laptop being at our table on Sunday? Did we come up with a conclusion for that? Who could bring a laptop?
Well, I know I can't bring mine. My work one, security, they will kill me if they found out that I left it anywhere. Our security is ridiculous now. So
Sure.
I can't.
Okay. Well, if anybody comes up with any ideas for that, so we could get a link to the survey, because I can't really remember where it was. So.
Yeah, I can find the link, and I'll reach out to Fred to see if maybe we could have some printed copies of the survey there. I don't think we're going to get a huge turnout for that because I think this is going to be very family oriented, and there'll be lots of kids, and I don't know how many people are going to want to stand there and do a survey when
Sure.
They're going to be in their sweaty winter clothes, and but having some paper ones that people could take away might be helpful as well. So I'll reach out to Fred on that. And I'm looking forward to seeing you, Andrew. Mina, looking forward to seeing you on Sunday.
And it's at the community center where we had our Christmas party, right?
Oh, I don't even know where it is. I'd have to look it up.
It's at the Mono Community Center, yes.
Okay, perfect. Thank
Right.
you.
Right.
Okay.
See you
Thanks,
there.
Okay, everybody.
Yes.
Great.
Bye.
Okay. Goodbye.
Bye.